Hi, in this video I will introduce our work, knowing how to plan. After the introduction, I will introduce the knowing how logic via knowledge-based plans. And in the final part, I will talk about the plan problem based on the knowing how logic we just defined. The plan problem is the study area in artificial intelligence. The planning under uncertainty is to find a solution to achieve the goals in an environment that the agent is uncertain about his or her initial position. So this is an example of planning under uncertainty. So imagine a scenario: you are lost in a maze. So you are not sure where you are. You might be in this place or in this place, but there are some goal you would like to achieve. So the planning is to have a solution that can guarantee you achieve the goal no matter where you are in the initial position. The planning problem can be classified as conformance planning or contingent planning or etc., depending on the notion of the solution. For the conformance planning, the solution or the plan is linear of actions such as the A1, A2. It means first do the action A1, then do the action A2. And for the contingent planning, the solution is conditional branch, something like if the current state is as 1, then you do action 1. If the current state is as 2, then you do action 2. And depending on the number of agents involved, the planning problem can also be classified as single planning or multi-agent planning. Recently, there is an interest to study the logic of knowing how, motivated by the planning problem. In this knowing how logic, they use a modality KH to capture the reason about the degree reading of knowledge how. For the degree reading of knowledge how, I mean they interpret knowing how to achieve a goal phi as there is a plan such that you know that this plan will ensure phi. For this case of knowing how logic, there is a Ichikai paper in 2017. They showed a single agent knowing how logic based on the uniform policy. And recently there is a paper in AI journal, and they show the single agent knowing how logic based on various forms of plans. They share the same logic. And for the multi-agent knowing how logic, there's a Lorry paper in 2019, and they present the multi-agent know-how logic based on linear plans. Besides this know-how logic based motivated by planning, there is also another kind of know-how logic that is based on the correlation logic. All these papers focus on the logic aspects, so they show the axiomatization and other properties about logic. In this paper, we observe that not only the knowing how logic can use the idea of planning. On the other hand, planning can also use the knowing how logic. So in this paper, we not only focus on the logical aspects. For example, we show a complete axiomatization system, and we also focus on the planning aspects. So we show the completeness of the model checking and the completeness of the planning problem based on this logic. Our main contributions are the following. First, we show a multi-agent knowing how logic based on the knowledge-based plans. Just as I said before, there is already a multi-agent knowing how logic based on linear plans. In this paper, we show the logic based on the knowledge-based plans, and it shows that these two kinds of logic share the same axiomatization system. The second contribution is we show a complete proof system over finite models for this knowing-how logic. So the third part is by using knowing-how logic, we can do high-order planning, that is planning about planning. That's because we can use the knowing-how logic formulas to express very complicated planning goals. We not only can express the agent 1 know how to achieve P, we can also to express that the agent 1 don't know how P, but the agent 1 know how to let the agent 2 know how P. And also in a complete game goal, we can express the agent 1 not only want to achieve P, he also want to achieve that, not let the agent 2 don't know how to prevent he know how P. That such complicated planning goal can be expressed in the know-how formula. So this is the part that we would like to highlight. So we want to say not only the planning idea can motivate the study of know-how logic, but by using the know-how logic, we can express very rich planning problems. The final part is we give a model checking algorithm for the know-how logic. This algorithm is also an algorithm for the planning problem. For another kind of related work, our know-how modality is very similar to the strategy-based derivatives of ATL and imperfect information. As we said, the know-how phi in our framework is interpreted as there is a plan of agent I such that agent I knows that this plan will ensure phi. And in the derivatives of ATL, the diamond I phi can express there is a strategy of I such that I knows that this strategy will ensure phi. It's very similar to our know-how modality. But there is a very big difference between the plan in our framework and the strategy in ATL. The plan in our framework is local. That means in our framework, if the agent do a plan from the state S, then it will terminate on a state T. So if the agent do something else on the state T, then it will have nothing with the plan have already executed. But in ATL, the strategy is a partial function from finite history to actions. So the effect of doing a strategy will generate an infinite history and is global. Because the strategy in ATL is global, so it might cause some problem to express the next of the diamond modality. For example, this formula to express the agent I have a strategy to enforce, the agent G have a strategy to enforce phi. But in the strategy of agent G, we need to consider the effects of the strategy of agent I. So this might cause some problems. But this problem doesn't occur in our framework because in our framework the plan is local. Doing a plan will always terminate on a state. Okay, now we can start with the logic part. The language of our know-how logic is very similar in the literature. about the knowing how logic motivated by planning. It has two modalities, the epistemic modality and the know-how modality. The model of our knowing how logic consists of a non-empty set of states W, and for each agent I, there is an equivalence relation. And this equivalence relation indicates the epistemic information of agent I. And for each agent I, there is also a set of actions AI. So in our framework, the different agents might have different abilities of doing actions. For each agent I, there is a corresponding action set AI. So this is the set of actions that this agent can do. And for each action A, there is corresponding binary relations. So this means the effect of doing an action is to move from a state to terminate on another state T. And also a propositional evaluation function V. These are some notations and assumptions. We use this to denote the belief states of agent I and use this to express the set of all belief states of agent I. And this means the binary relation QA can also be seen as a function. And our assumptions is in this framework, we assume that all the models have the property of perfect recall. So this is an example of a model. So draw a patient that have some symptom P, the two daughters, daughter 1 and daughter 2. Initially, both of them cannot distinguish the cause of this symptom. But after the daughter 1 doing action A, then the daughter 2 will distinguish the cause of the symptom. And if the cause of the symptom is Q, then the daughter 2 can do the action C to cure the symptom. If the cause is negation Q, then the daughter 2 can do the action B to cure the symptom. Before we introduce the semantics, we first introduce knowledge-based plans. There's one thing we would like to highlight, that is the notion of plan is always with respect to some agent. That's because in agent I's plan, he can only use the actions that he can do, and he can only test the knowledge that he has. So he cannot test the knowledge of others, but he can test the knowledge that he has about others. The knowledge-based plan is interpreted as binary relations are models. So this means the effect of doing a plan will always terminate. So the semantics of the agent I know how phi on the pointed model MS, that is means there is a plan of agent I such that the plan is strongly executable on agent I's belief state on S, and phi is true on all the states that if the agent do the plan pi on the belief states of S. So we can check on the model we introduced above. On the state S1, the daughter 1 don't know how to cure the patient, and also the daughter 2 don't know how to cure the patient, but the daughter 1 know how to let the daughter to know how to cure the patient. Okay, now we can introduce the proof system for our know-how logic. It consists of the S file axiom for the epistemic modality and also two axiom for the know-how modality. Three axioms speak about the interaction about the know-that modality and the know-how modality. There are some properties about our know-how modality. First is the know-how is not normal. So the second is the negative introspection. That is, if I don't know how, then I know that I don't know how, and this is provable in the system. And also some forms of modal operator sequence can be reduced. The main result about this know-how logic that we show the proof system is sound and complete over the finite models, and we also show that this know-how logic has the small model properties. If it is satisfiable, then it's satisfiable on a model with at most 2 to the n states. Okay, the final part is we can do planning based on the know-how logic. A planning problem for agent I is triple, consists of a model and a belief state of agent I and a go formula. Please note that any know-how formula can be a go formula. So this means we can have the planning goal like the agent one know how to don't let the agent two know how to let the agent one know how something like this. And a solution for agent I is a knowledge-based program pi, such that the knowledge-based plan is strongly executable on all states of the belief state, the initial belief state, and the Go formula phi holds on all the termination states of executing pi on the initial belief state of agent I. So it's obvious that the agent I have a solution for planning problem can be reduced a model checking of the know-how logic. And we also give a model checking algorithm for the know-how logic. The most difficult part is to model check the know-how file. And our strategy is to reduce the model check of know-how file to a classical planning problem. The classical planning problem is we use this fully observable non-deterministic planning problem introduced in the paper semantics paper in 2003. A fully observable non-deterministic planning problem consists of a labeled transition system, initial states, and the goal site. The plan of this planning problem is called a strong plan. To reduce the model check the know-how formula to a fully observable planning problem, the key part is to construct a labeled transition system from a model. And we can show there that there is a correspondence between the knowledge-based plan and the strong plan in the fully observable planning problem. The main result is we can show that the reduction is success, and by use the fully observable plan problem, we can show that the model checking problem is in p time in the size of model. Since we have already shown that the know-how logic has a property of small model property, so combined with this p-time model checking results, we can deduce that this logic is decidable. That's all. For full details, please look at the full paper. Thank you.